If you like magic, the Mars plant in Chicago, Illinois puts on quite a show. Producing more candy bars in one day than most people can make disappear in an entire lifetime.
The Chicago factory makes millions of candy bars every day and millions of Milky Way bars every day.
And Americans eat more than 200 million of them each year.
People like the velvety, caramelly chocolate, and the way it sticks to your mouth, the way it sort of slides down your throat.
Today, the Windy City has blown in another sweet treat, the fun-size Milky Way bar.
It means that you can have a bag of Milky Way in a fun-sized portion and then open that bag and share it and have some fun with your friends.
So how do they stack so much flavor into such a little bar? They start by whipping up some nougat, which is a blend of syrup, egg whites, and malt.
The nougat goes through what we call a pin beater, and that whips the egg up and gets it nice and fluffy.
The fluffed nougat falls below onto the cooling system, creating a mountain of nougat goodness.
We have the dams that are set up on the side here that form a slab.
If you can keep yourself from diving headfirst into the nougat, you might just make it in time to see the caramel. Staying true to its name, the caramel in the Milky Way is made of milk, along with some sugar and a few other secret ingredients. However, you might be surprised to learn that this candy bar was not actually named after the Milky Way galaxy.
It was originally conceived in 1923 when Frank Mars tried to replicate the very popular malt shake drink that was popular in the Roaring '20s. So he tried to replicate that famous taste that everybody knew and loved and put it into a candy bar. And the Milky Way bar was born.
The caramel flows onto a machine called a caramel wheel, where it cools.
We pride ourselves in making some of the creamiest caramel around.
That creamy caramel is now ready to be united with its better half, the nougat. The happy couple then gets cut down to the perfect fun size.
There's at least 2 bites in every single bar.
From there, the bite-sized bars zip on down to a chocolate waterfall.
It smells just as good as it looks right now in this warm bath of chocolate.
Next, the freshly coated chocolate bars receive their signature swirl before cooling down on their way to the wrapping room.
This wrapper is running approximately 750 bars per minute.
Next stop is the scale, where the bars drop into bags before they're boxed and sent around the world.
It's made globally in all the continents and enjoyed by consumers across the world.
And did you know there is more than one way to eat a Milky Way?
Some people like to have it frozen and actually take a standard bar and put it in the freezer. I just like to eat my Milky Way straight out the wrapper.
Just like millions of other people.
Milky Way! Welcome to the home of Butterfinger.
2 deliciously creative words come to mind when workers describe the Butterfinger bar.
They're crispity and crunchity.
Crispity, crunchity.
Butterfinger is all about crispity, crunchity, chocolatey experience.
At the Nestle factory in Franklin Park, Illinois, they make more than 10 million Butterfingers every day.
If we lined all the bars up end to end that we make on this line alone, in 1 week we make enough bars to stretch from Chicago to Las Vegas, which is 1,700 miles. We make an incredible amount of Butterfinger in this factory.
I've worked here for 52 years, and I still love Butterfinger.
Butterfingers have been around since the late 1920s. Back then, a candy company went to the public for help with a name.
The Curtis Candy Company held a public contest, and the winning name was Butterfinger. At the time, it was a name that referred to an athlete, a sports player, who could not keep his hand on a ball.
All these years later, many calls come in to Nestle about the mystery orange center. Primarily, what is it?
The center of a Butterfinger candy bar is really what makes Butterfinger Butterfinger. It's rich, it's flaky, it's made with a creamy peanut butter, and from peanuts that we actually roast at the factory.
More than 100,000 pounds of peanut butter mixed in giant vats, along with another ingredient that just might surprise you.
People may not realize that one of the ingredients we use in Butterfinger is cornflakes.
You heard right, cornflakes.
As you can see, these cornflakes are much different than what you would have for breakfast at home. We add these in, they're a lot lighter in texture, and they add the depth into the peanut butter to give the crispity, crunchy texture from a Butterfinger you'd expect.
Meanwhile, in another kettle, they work on a mixture of molasses, corn syrup, sugar, and water. Then, the mix gushes through pipes to a cooking chamber below.
Inside the cooking chamber, that temperature is brought up to over 300 degrees in about 5 minutes.
Check this out. The hot sugary mix pours onto a cooling wheel, then spreads out.
Bringing that temperature back down is what gives us that crystallization process. The better we manage that under certain time and temperature, this is what gives us that unique texture that we need.
Next, a ribbon of peanut butter lines the middle, and the whole thing takes on a taffy-like consistency. Then, it gently kneads and folds on a slow-moving conveyor.
The way it comes together is top secret that we cannot show today. We got to keep it under wraps.
The Butterfinger flattens and forms into long ropes, then cuts down to individual sizes. Next, the bars take a ride through a series of cooling tunnels that are a quarter-mile long.
So after the cooling tunnels, those bars are then going through a process where they go through a waterfall of coating, chocolatey coating, to give us that unique flavor that we need out of a Butterfinger.
After a good chocolatey shower, the bars cool, then march like a small army off the packaging. The entire process from start to finish takes about 1 hour.
Butterfinger is very popular, not just today, but it has been for years. People have really enjoyed the unique, one-of-a-kind taste of Butterfinger. They've shared it with their friends, with their children through the generations.
It seems no other candy bar shows off the sweet red, white, and blue quite like this one.
Baby Ruths!
The pride pours out of the Nestle factory in Franklin Park, Illinois. Would you believe they roll out nearly 4 million Baby Ruth bars every day?
Doesn't get any more All-American than this.
Baby Ruth made its debut during the early days of baseball when a certain slugger was rising to fame. The timing has led to many rumors and even some bets over the years.
The number one question our Consumer Services Department gets about Baby Ruth is actually who the bar was named after.
If you think the candy bar's namesake is baseball legend Babe Ruth, you're not alone. However,
we're going to disappoint many when we tell them that the Baby Ruth candy bar was not named after Babe Ruth. Folklore has it that it was actually named after Baby Ruth. She was the daughter of President Grover Cleveland. We've settled a lot of bets in our time.
creating this chocolatey caramel and nougat goodie begins with loads and loads of fresh peanuts.
We put 73 million peanuts per day on Baby Ruth bars here in the Franklin Park factory.
The raw peanuts slide directly into 2 giant roasters. There, they roast for an hour at a toasty 300 degrees Fahrenheit. To make this caramel, they mix milk, sugar, and flavoring in giant tanks for at least 30 minutes. Next, the mixture heats up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and then it goes for a ride.
Products transferred to a cooling wheel in order to begin the crystallization process will take it from more of a liquid form to a solid form and a more consistent product.
Making the nougat is a similar process, but check out how it looks after it rolls off the cooling wheel. A thick and airy fudge-like slab forms. This squishy nougat slowly moves up an incline to another extruder.
At that point, the nougat will be formed into ropes, and they will be covered with caramel and topped with peanuts.
Check this out. The newly formed super long peanutty ropes cool this way because they need time to firm up.
What you're looking at is basically a 150-foot long Baby Ruth bar. Over the course of one day, we'll make approximately 60 miles of Baby Ruth ropes. That's a lot of Baby Ruth.
A cutting machine slices the Baby Ruths down to size.
After the ropes are cut, it'll enter the enrober, at which point the rope will be covered with a chocolatey coating and fasten a curtain of chocolate.
From start to finish, it takes about 3 hours to make this American classic that's been loved for generations.
It really is a memory maker. Most of us remember Baby Ruth on a baseball field, watching a Little League game, sharing it with friends and family. Nestle Baby Ruth really is an all-American treat.
This is a kiss, and this is a kiss. Now, which one would you rather have? For Chocoholics, it's no contest. Those little bites of foil-wrapped sweetness can be irresistible. Hershey's first puckered up and produced a kiss way back in 1907. Hershey used the same milk chocolate as was in the Hershey bar, and the kisses became hugely popular. But making them was difficult. When kisses were first made, each and every one had to be hand-wrapped. Then in 1921, the first automated wrapping machine sprang into action and output soared. But for a brief time, there were no kisses at all. During World War II, foil was in short supply. So between 1942 and 1949, kisses were canceled. Of course, when the war ended, it was kisses galore, and now Hershey's makes over 30 million a day. It takes some smooth operators to create all those kisses, but the process itself is simple. Chocolate is deposited on a continuously moving belt through a cooling tunnel. Next, the hardened chocolate pieces fall off the belt and move on to the wrappers. But first, they have to pass an inspection. Yes, believe it or not, there is someone who gets paid to inspect kisses. So what does he look for?
My job is to make sure the kisses are the right shapes, the right sizes, and to make sure that they'll wrap properly.
Rejected kisses get sent back, remelted, and remade until they can pass inspection as a perfect kiss. All those chocolate pieces are then wrapped, with each machine covering kisses at the rate of 1,300 a minute. Silver foil is still the basic kiss color, but seasonal varieties are also produced, such as these pastel colors for Easter. The hardest part of wrapping all these kisses is the rather puzzling piece, the plume. The paper flag was added by Hershey in 1921 to distinguish his kiss from all the competitors. Plus, as a bonus, the plumes can be used as a handy way to peel back the foil. Now it's time to test your kiss expertise. Did you know there once was a variety of kiss-like products? Between 1900 and 1930, Hershey's produced a vanilla version named Sweethearts and the milkier tasting Silver Tops and Silver Points. But none were embraced by the public, so they soon disappeared. And then there's the biggest question of all. Why are they called kisses? According to Hershey historians, there's no documented reason for the name, but here's one story.
A lot of people think that the name for the Hershey Kiss came from the sound that's made when the chocolate is deposited on a steel moving belt. And it makes sort of a kissing sound as it's deposited.
Okay, that's one theory, or maybe someone who really, really loved chocolate decided kiss was the only word to describe these treats. After all, would a kiss by any other name taste so sweet? We perch them on mounds of ice cream and take them to the movies. Little bears we like to call gummies. They're a relatively new favorite in America, but have been around for years.
Gummy bears, to the best of everybody's knowledge, originated approximately in the 1930s in Europe. The name Gummy is a German word for rubber, so it stands to reason that it emanated in Germany.
Gummy bears are usually made in the standard fruit flavors: strawberry, cherry, pineapple, lemon, lime, and orange.
Typically, children love the red gummies, whether it's cherry or strawberry.
Ever wonder how gummies get so chewy? The secret is in the recipe. Cornstarch, sugar, and corn syrup are blended. Then gelatin is added to give the goo its chew. The mix is then heated. If we had X-ray vision, we could see the amazing process happening inside this cooker.
They're sent through a coil, which is 128 feet long, which has boiling water, basically, steam, around the outside of that coil, and it cooks the candy.
Flavor, fruit concentrates, and color are then added to the molten mix. Next, starch molds are prepared in a mogul machine. Instead of making bumps like the name implies, the mogul presses millions of tiny bear bodies into trays of starch. The hot liquid candy is pumped into the holes, forming a jiggly bear jamboree. The starch trays are stacked and placed in a special room for drying.
And the starch is used as a means of drawing moisture out of the product.
After hibernating for a day, Each tray is flipped, freeing the bears from their molds. A rotating sieve separates the candy from the cornstarch. The dusty dudes ride to a shaking machine where the last of the cornstarch is dislodged. A final toss in a giant drum gives the gummies their glossy shine. The colorful assortment of flavors is measured into a series of buckets and poured into clear bags. You've seen the short version, but you might be surprised how long it really takes to make gummy bears.
It takes 24 hours to make a single gummy bear. You know, you don't really tend to think about what goes on behind the scenes when you're eating a product.
Despite the amount of work that goes into gummies, billions of the bears are born every year.
If you took all the gummy bears that we've made since 1984, you pile them all up, it would stretch from the Earth to the moon, back to the Earth, and up to the moon.
This chocolate and caramel candy bar is famous for its sweet cookie snap.
I like the cookie because it's crunchy. That's what makes Twix different from other candy bars.
One of the things that people love about Twix is the freshness, and you can always tell when that cookie snaps.
The Twix name was derived from a hybrid of twin and biscuit, the English word for cookie.
We have a crispy, crunchy cookie, a smooth, creamy chocolate, and then a chewy caramel, and the combination of those three is what makes it so great.
In fact, Mars Candy Company designed this candy bar for the Brits because of their love of biscuits with tea.
Twix actually started in England in 1967. It came to the United States in 1979, and it's been a big hit.
These days, Twix is a favorite American treat, made in Cleveland, Tennessee.
From start to finish, it takes about 25 minutes to make one Twix bar.
Each Twix bar begins by mixing up the top secret cookie dough.
The world of Twix begins right here in the dough molding room. The dough gets pressed into a die. That die is a brass circle that forms the cookie shape that we need, and it releases onto the apron, which then carries it into the oven. The amount of dough that moves through this process is over 50 tons a day.
And there's a special trick to keeping all that dough on the go.
The big roller is made of brass because it causes the cookie to release easier.
And in case you were wondering what all those little holes in the cookie dough do,
one is that it actually helps it release from the molder, and that when we put our first layer of chocolate on there, that helps hold the foundation of that chocolate.
the cookie dough then takes a long ride through an oven designed to prevent under or over baking.
That oven is over 100 feet long, and it's very important to the cooking process of the cookie. When it comes out of that oven, it's a very, very light tan to golden color, and it snaps and it's crispy, and it's just exactly what you want in a cookie.
Once the cookie cools, a layer of chocolate spreads out on top.
The chocolate makes a perfect base for the caramel to go on top of. You want to prevent the movement of moisture from the caramel into the cookie.
Next, piping hot caramel, kept at a constant 105 degrees Fahrenheit by a giant rotating drum, falls onto each candy bar.
We use 45 tons of caramel a day. Caramel is one of the most critical processes that we have. Any change in caramel temperature can actually influence the amount of caramel that gets placed in the bar, and we want to make sure it's right every time.
Then, the cookie cuts down into thin strips through a secret process.
It then goes through this beautiful chocolate bath to coat the whole bar with chocolate.
And just like all Mars candy bars, Twix has a unique signature swirl built into its chocolatey top.
We use a combination of vibration and air to make that decoration that you see on the top of the bar.
The finished bars wrap up at a rate of 3,000 per minute in the twin candy bar packaging that's unique to Twix. And Twix isn't just for kids. Adults crave this candy bar too.
Java is one of our recent limited editions, which is very, very successful. What makes Twix so addictive is the crunchy cookie. When you bite into that bar and you have that crispy, crunchy cookie, in addition to that burst of chocolate and that caramel, that's fantastic. How could anybody pass that up?
It's the sweet treat that's hard to describe. Is it chocolate? Is it fudge? What exactly is a Tootsie Roll?
It's a chocolatey confection. It's fudgy, and yet it's caramel-like, and it is its own unique consistency.
Ever since Leo Hirschfeld first brought his secret recipe for Tootsie Rolls over from Austria, people have been trying to put a finger on the bite-sized brownie. It's different from any other candy out there. It's not a true chocolate, but still rich and chewy. And even after 105 years, just a penny. Hirschfeld hand-rolled and wrapped the first Tootsie Rolls in his small New York shop. He named his creation after his 5-year-old daughter, Clara, whose nickname was Tootsie. The new candy hit on our sweet tooth, growing into an industry of its own. Times may change, but not the Tootsie Roll.
One of the things that we're very conscious of is to keep the same formula for Tootsie Rolls that we had in 1896 when the company first began, because that is the product that people have come to love so much.
Today, Ellen Gordon presides over the Tootsie Roll empire. But once, when her father ran the business, she was their glamour gal.
I never knew it would be so much fun to work in a candy plant, and it is because, you know, it's a happy place and people are allowed to eat the candy as they go along.
Strolling through the Tootsie plant does feel a bit like you've stepped into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Workers cruise by on bikes, and ingredients are stored in clever containers. It's not hard to guess what's in here. Sweetened condensed milk, corn syrup, sugar, and cocoa are a big part of the Tootsie recipe. It's different than making traditional milk chocolate, creating something closer to fudge. The blend is heated inside another Tootsieism. Once it's cooked, the brown batter pours out in sheets for cooling. It's then seeded or mixed with already complete Tootsie and formed into huge Tootsie Rolls. Each one of these logs weighs 12.5 pounds. That's one big dessert. Each log passes through a metal detector to ensure no foreign matter makes it into the Tootsies. The logs are pulled into ropes, getting thinner and thinner until they are ready to be cut and wrapped into midgies. The whole process taking about 45 minutes. This factory runs round the clock, making more than 60 million Tootsie Rolls every day.
If you laid them end to end, they would go as far as the moon and back.
After loading into bags, a robot boxes the candy for shipment to stores. After all these years, Tootsie Rolls are as popular as ever.
People like to give to their children what they enjoyed themselves when they were children, so it is passed on from generation to generation.
Besides being a favorite of all ages, Tootsie's got a reputation as a bite-sized hero.
And we have a man who survived in a lifeboat, and he claims that the Tootsie Rolls didn't melt and that his life was saved because he didn't have anything to eat.
Tootsie even served in World War II.
The enemy shot holes in their fuel tanks. They would chew the Tootsie Rolls for a while and then pop them in there to plug up the fuel tank leaks.
Good to know. Maybe we should all keep a few Tootsies on hand in case of emergency, chocolate craving, or otherwise.